Okay, we're ready to continue with our construction, putting together the 4 sides of the horn using our aluminum foil tape that hopefully came from Lowe's. And if you don't have any, you know what to do. Stop the video, go find your teacher and say, hey, where's the aluminum foil tape? All right. If you've made your cuts from the last part correctly, I've kind of laid this back out for you to see. There's the first part here, that's scrap. We'll put that aside. There's a piece on the other end. That's also scrap. So we are left with 4 nicely cut pieces. Top, bottom, left, and right. So now the question is, how do we assemble these correctly so that this is the shape that we end up with? Good question. Glad you asked. We're going to follow this drawing right here. There you go. I'll follow along with how to do it. I'm going to work from left to right. So as you can see on your sheet that you have in front of you from your instructions, you're going to have a top piece that's going to go, in essence, long side out. You're going to take the left sheet right here, put next to it. Once again, that's going to go long side out. Move that aside. Next up, as you can see in the drawing, you're going to want the bottom piece. Once again, long side out. And lastly, of course, the right piece, not the wrong piece, the right piece. That's going to go on the edge. And if we've done this correctly, you should have something that looks like a fan with all the short edges on the inside, all the long edges on the outside, and you should be going top, left, bottom, right. Or if you prefer, wide piece, narrow piece, wide piece, narrow piece. Make sure you've nicely lined up the edges to work with here. I'll slide this down just a little so it's easier for you to see in the video. Now, we're going to connect the inside seams using our aluminum foil tape. Now, there's really 2 ways you can do this. You can go for the one long piece at once, or you can do a method that maybe cuts down a little bit on the error. We can take 2 little short pieces and then go back and put the long piece on. And it really doesn't matter, just whatever works for you. If you're working with a friend, you can probably do the long piece all at once. I'm working by myself today, so I'm going to do the easier version. I'm going to cut 2 small pieces of tape here. You can see them, silver. Now remember, before we start taping, just to make sure you got this right, if you remembered, shiny side goes on the inside of the telescope. Dull side goes on the outside. Therefore, for our taping purposes, you should have the shiny sides up that you already labeled top, left, bottom, and right. All right, so I've got 2 pieces of tape. I'm going to use this to kind of hold this together. That way I can pull the pieces together and put my tape here and do the same thing at the bottom. This is probably the part that takes the longest to learn how to do. I've done many of these, and I still cannot get this right. It really is a pain to try to peel the piece of paper that protects the adhesive on the back of the aluminum foil. I kind of work one of the edges back and forth until I separate it a little, get my piece. Notice it tends to want to curl. Oh my goodness. So be careful with it. So again, put half of it down here on one side, line the piece up at the top, squeeze them closely together, as you can see me doing here. Tape that piece down real tight. We're going to do the same thing with the other short piece. Well, we're going to try anyway. Told you, this takes patience. I can't always say I have the patience to do this. There we go. I'm sure you'll do much better than me. Let's separate the back. Once again, try not to let it curl. Put it down on 1/2. Squeeze it together and get a good, nice connection. All right, so let's take a look at that now. As you can see on the video, I've done just one each at the top of the bottom. My next step is going to be a long strip down here. But before I get to the long strip, I'm going to go back once again. I'm going to take 2 more short pieces of tape, put one here, put one here, and one here. Then I'm going to go back and put a long piece of foil tape along each one. There's a little spillover, that's okay. Just curl it over the edges. It really won't matter. Okay, so while you're doing that on your 4 sections, I'm going to stop the video, do the same thing. As soon as I'm done, I'll be right back with you.